Well, I'm here today to post this video about some of my experiences with Team Ramco in Yuma, Arizona. Now, I first met Flash when he came to Yuma from Lakeside, California. That was back in, I believe, 1998. I met him at Chester's restaurant. He was accompanied by his wife, and he had a few adopted children with him. He told me he'd moved to Yuma to open a new transmission repair shop and invited me to his new shop. It was called Team Ramco. I went to his new shop where he gave me a tour. I was pretty impressed. He showed me his high-tech equipment and his impressive stock of rebuild parts. He explained the process he used to make the best rebuilt transmission money could buy. It looked great. Since that first meeting, I went to Team Ramco on multiple occasions. The first time, it was back in the early days. I had a transmission for a 72 Dodge pickup rebuilt. It was a little pricey, but you know what? It worked great, and the job was done here local, and it was guaranteed, and I was okay with that. The next visit I recall was in early 90s, I had an early 90 Ford F1 pickup, and the cruise wasn't working quite right, so I took it to Team Ramco and dropped it off. They called me the next day and told me they had to perform a diagnostic test. That was going to be $75. I okayed the work. Later they called me back and told me that the instrument cluster was bad and had to be replaced. That was going to be an additional $300+. I declined the replacement and I took the pickup home. And at that time, I had an identical pickup, so I switched the cluster from the one that I had to the one that didn't work. The one pickup that didn't work still didn't work, and the one that was working with the cluster out of the first pickup, it worked just fine. So much for that $75 diagnostic charge. I called Flash. One second here. I called Flash and I told him about this, and he got all pissed off. But he wasn't pissed off because of a bad diagnostic. He was pissed off at me, claiming that I wanted a refund, which I didn't ask for. He told me not to bother him at home. This kind of raised a red flag. I stayed away from Team Ramco for a while. The next time I went back, it was with the 72 Chevy pickup, 3/4 ton. The freeze plugs were bad. Team Ramco had to remove the transmission and R&R the freeze plugs. The work was done in a day, and they only charged me $100. I was happy, and this restored faith in Team Ramco. The next time that I went, it was 05 Ford Freestyle. Now this thing quit about 60 miles out of town. I had it towed back to my house. Then I called Flash. He sent a tow truck to take it to his shop. There was no charge for the tow if Ramco did the repairs. Otherwise it'd be $75 towing. I was told that diagnostic was required. That was going to be another $100. I okayed this. The next day I checked on the results. Team Ramco couldn't repair the transmission, but it could be replaced. It would be $6,500 for parts plus labor. Now, for a vehicle that I paid $5,500 for, I decided no. The Flash told me, he said he'd have it towed back to my house. I said, you know, I'll just drive it, because it was going to be another $75 to tow it, being they wasn't going to do the work. So Flash says, well, good luck, you know, this thing ain't going to work. Well, I drove it home, and I drove this thing around for another month before I traded it off. Then I brought in, after that, a 1996 Cadillac Eldorado. and it was stuck in limp mode. That's basically second gear, take off in second gear, and it won't shift into third gear. Flash said they could get it going for a couple $100, but there would be no guarantee. I okayed that, and it was ready the next day. I went to pick it up, and the bill was $400, twice the price that I was quoted one day previous. And now for the reason that I'm posting this video. I have a 1994 Ford Econoline 150 conversion van. It ran a little rough, so I took it to Flash. He drove it and said the tranny was okay, that the problem was something else. He had one of his guys check it out. That guy found a broken vacuum hose, and he fixed it. After a couple days, the van seemed to run okay, and he only charged me $25. Wow. I actually drove that van to Cabo San Lucas and back, and then went to Minnesota and back with no problems. A total of over 10,000 miles. Then, after a few months, the van started running crappy again, so I called Flash. He said to wait 1 week and then bring the van in. I waited 1 week and 1 day. Then I dropped it off at Team Ramco. It was on a Tuesday. I called 1 week later, the following Tuesday, to find out the results, and was told that the diagnostic wasn't right. But I had to pay the $75 for the diagnostic. They said that their equipment was too new to diagnose that old of a vehicle, and that they had to borrow some older equipment. But they would need a couple more hours of diagnostic on that. I was also told that the throttle was stuck. I had to authorize another $150 diagnostic charge. Now diagnostic is up to $225. I talked to Flash. He said he's working on it, and that the throttle was stuck. He verified the throttle was stuck, and he said he'd call me back in a few hours. Well, I never got that call. So the next day, now this is Thursday, I called Team Ramco to find out the results of the extra 2 hours of diagnostic. And I was told that they hadn't done that yet. I complained that the vehicle had been there 10 days and they had absolutely no answer to what was going on. I was told that I wasn't the only customer, and then the guy hung up on me. So I called Flash to find out what's going on, and told him of the conversation I had with this other guy. I thought all of a sudden Flash became very unhinged, and he let loose with a bunch of expletives that I won't repeat, and he told me to come and get my van out of his shop. Then he hung up. Well, I got a ride to Team Ramco to pick up my van. When approaching the location, I see my vehicle parked alongside the frontage road, totally off Team Ramco's property. I went into the office to settle up and get my keys, and there was no one there. I rang the bell and waited. No one came. I rang the bell again and again and again. Still, no one showed up. I told the person that drove me out there to go see if the keys were in the van. And she came back with the keys in hand and said they were in the door lock on the outside of the vehicle. Well, this kind of aggravated me. I still wanted to settle up. I rang the bell again, but no one came to the front desk. I left with the van and drove home. The next morning, I opened the hood with hopes of finding some kind of a problem. I had to remove the air cleaner. When I doing that, I found a bunch of missing and mismatched bolts. Once the air cleaner was removed, I saw the stuck throttle valve. Well, I sprayed some graphite on it, on that linkage. It worked back and forth a few times. I just worked it back and forth, and it seemed to be okay. I replaced the air cleaner with the correct bolts and took it for a test drive. Results, perfect. Total time spent, 20 minutes plus 4 squirts of graphite. No $225 diagnostic, no 10 days in the shop, no BS. Now, this has been my experience with Team Ramco and Flash. By the way, Flash told me never ever to call him again to work on any of my vehicles. So if you go there, I wish you the very best of luck. I hope you enjoyed the video. You can post your comments below, plus or minus. It makes no difference to me. I'd be glad to look them over. I probably won't respond to them. Enjoy yourself and have a great day.